I appreciate you guys bearing with me, and I know I had to make an adjustment there because we tried to get out before the rain came, because if it rains, then we can't miss any more practices. And so it just felt like we had to get that practice in so that we can get our preparation started for Georgia Tech. You know, putting that game behind us last week, it was really an outstanding win for us to go get the first one. Some really good individual performances. You look at what Blake did, 24, 34, 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. And then St. Felix to have the day that he has 7 catches for right around 135 yards. And then even Solomon came on, had 3 big catches, and Wilcox. And I said before the game, I said our offensive line that Mays, Atterbury, and Storm and Norman, they had to play well. And Atterbury and Norman both graded out winners, which is really good for us. And then defensively, came away with 2 interceptions. The thing we got to do on defense is we got to be more sound, just gap control. We allowed them to rush the ball. And with Georgia Tech, look at that film, they're going to feel like they can go up and down the field because that's what they do. But just McGee had an outstanding game. Bentley Sanders will come out and start for the first time, play really well for us. But we just know that, and then you look at us in the kicking game, Vivinato 2 for 2, and then 4 extra points. Even Aussie came out and punted the ball very well. I think he had 2 down within the 10-yard line. But getting ready for this one, this is a big one for us, and we know this. We're going to have to play well. We can't go out there like we did last week, play well for probably 3/4 of the game, and then we go until the 4th quarter and we didn't play well at all. Kind of just going through the motion. When you feel like you got a game won, that's when you put guys away, and we didn't put that team away. But Georgia Tech is an outstanding football team. Thing they do is run the ball. And the quarterback with Marshall, we got to stop him, the fullback. If they can get the quarterback and fullback going in this game, then they're going to feel like they can have some success. A veteran offensive line, and thing we got to do is get off blocks, and it's going to come down just assignment football. Who has the quarterback, who has the dive, who has the pitch. And if we can get all 3 of those things handled, then we got a chance. And what we have to do, we know this offensively. Our possessions are going to be limited because they are ball control offense. And so when we do get the ball on offense, we got to take advantage of the opportunities. We got to try to create turnovers so we can steal us a possession. But we just got to know this offensively. We're not going to get that many opportunities, so take advantage of it when we get it. Really good in the kicking game. They really have good size to get down the field, do a great job of covering on the punt and kickoff, and have a really good return man. So it's going to be a big challenge for us, and we have this week to get prepared and get ready to go play. And just really excited about it. This is a game that, this is a really good game for early game, for us and for our program right now.
Jim, this is the last time you had to prepare for a traditional triple option. Was that maybe we go back to your Notre Dame game?
That's it, yeah. Well, in Notre Dame, we played Navy, Army, and Air Force. So we played all 3 of them in 1 year. So, that's when it really goes back to it, because having this be the first time, and you look at it now, the next 4 years we have it. So we have Georgia Tech this year, next year, then we get Navy 2 years after that. So we get us 4 straight years now, but it goes back to the Notre Dame days.
What do you remember about preparing? I mean, granted, you're going back 20 years ago, but I'm sure a lot of the same principles apply then and do now. You see a lot of variations of triple option, but what do you recall?
Well, the thing is you got to be assignment sound. And like what I was saying earlier, who's ever responsible for the dive has to take the dive, and it can't be a guessing game where I thought I saw. No, because the thing about it, they're really good at what they do. And you look at Navy and you look at Georgia Tech, 2 of the really the 2 teams. Georgia Southern, I think, went back to it. But what they do is they match to their personnel, and that's what they play to their personnel. And so it's the offense they run because of the personnel they have. But it's just assignment sound. You have to be aggressive, and because of what happens is when you play an option team, they want you to kind of play at their pace, and that's what we can't do.
Going into that first game, what was the major question you had going into the game, and what was the answer?
Well, you lost a lot of seniors last year, so you just didn't know how we were going to respond if we were ever had gotten down. But we battled and had some really good plays there early. The quarterback with Blake and him having this, he hasn't played since his Alabama days, so for him to come out and play as well as he did, and then just at the receiver position with St. Felix having a day, and defensively we knew that we lost a lot of guys, but we had to play well on defense. And just, they drove the ball some early, but we were able to get the turnovers. But it was just a team that you're still looking for answers because we didn't play as well as I thought we could. So we still have to get better.
Do you think teams, a lot of coaches seem to think teams improve the most from the first game to the second game. Do you buy that, and you think, is that what you're looking for?
Really, I did, and we had a staff meeting this morning, and that's what I talked with our coaches from game 1 to game 2. There should be an improvement because now you're going to be more detailed. You kind of have a feel for who you are. And we played a lot of guys, so you kind of know what guys you can really place in the game and put them in these different situations. But it's more detailed now, and the thing you have now is that you've seen the guys play, so now you can correct them. But when you have to make sure that you correct them, and don't be afraid to correct them because you have something to show them now. Guys, this is why we can get better because you cannot miss a tackle there, or you have to stay in your gap here, or as an offensive lineman, you got to stay locked on. Even with the quarterback, he made some throws and some checks that he missed, but you have something to show them now.
Talk about their defense. I think they looked at 3-4 this year, which is coordinator from what you've seen.
Well, defensively, the thing you look at is they're up front. They're a veteran team. Now the secondary is young, but they're young, but they're very talented. But up front, they went to a 3-4, so their defensive ends are really good players. So the thing we're gonna have to do is be able to protect the quarterback. And if we can protect the quarterback, then that's going to open up a lot of things that we can do with our offense. But defensively, they're a solid group that plays very well. Had a shutout against Alcorn State.
Do you think the team is aware of the national implications for this game, or do you try and keep that kind of stuff away from them?
Well, I told them that we're gonna be on ABC, and so we have a chance there. We'll have a national audience. They'll get a chance to watch us play, and I think that sometimes that helps us because the limited times that you are on TV. So now you get a chance to be on TV. So and then we get our crowd behind us, and we're at home. So that should be into our favor, where we should go. At least we should go out, be prepared, and ready to go play.
Do you think I'm kind of thinking in terms of the program. In other words, to stand out like Boise State or USF, these are the games you have to win to get your program accepted at a national level and say, well, they're just an American.
Right, you do, because you look at it, we're a group of 5, we're not Power 5. So then when you get a chance to play a Power 5 team, you have to go play well. And you're right, because what that does is it opens up people's eyes. So now all of a sudden they see, hey, look at them against Georgia Tech. Then you have Illinois coming up next. So you need to play well against the Power 5 teams.
A lot of kids make their debut on Saturday against Elon. Now, as they look forward to Georgia Tech, do you think they properly put Elon behind them and have turned the page? Which is not the easiest thing for young kids.
No, it wasn't. But today, when we went out, we went right to Georgia Tech, and I haven't even had a chance yet to have a team meeting from the game on Saturday. So I'm gonna have that meeting here in a few minutes. But then we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna put that to rest and get ready for Georgia Tech, because that game is behind us now, guys. It's time to move on, because this next opponent is critical. It's critical for our program, and it's gonna help us make this step.
Getting off blocks, just being in the right gap, because I think in the second half we gave up maybe I'll say like 115 yards rushing, and it was on the 2 drives that they scored on. They were just gashing us, and people were out of their gaps, and people just took the wrong man. So that's things that we have to work on for this week and the upcoming weeks.
Okay, you know, the line played as a whole on Saturday.
I feel out of the DN group, we made a lot of plays, but we also missed some. Like from my perspective, I missed maybe 2 or 3 tackles. Greg missed 2 or 3 tackles. Jawan missed a couple of tackles as well. So I think those tackles they eventually add up. So we have to cut those down. So.
Talk about the challenges of playing against the triple option at Georgia Tech and what you guys are in store for.
Yes, sir. It's definitely a challenge, but we've been working on this since the spring practices and also in fall camp. And I'm actually glad that we did, because I think if we didn't coming into this week, it would be like a lot thrown at you. But we've been practicing bits and bits since the spring. So now I think we should be able to just flow into everything.
How encouraging was it to see so many young guys play for the first time? Were you guys kind of coaching them up before the game? Talk about the process of getting acclimated and how pleased you were with how well they did.
Yeah, I would have to give props to guys like Boyles, guys like Yates and Barber, because being a true freshman and playing in your very first game, I think that's big, because there was a lot of guys like myself, Reeves, Jawan, Kevin, guys that had to redshirt or sit out a year, and you see guys like Boyles, Yates and Barber just play like that, so it's pretty good, pretty good.
You got back-to-back Power 5 opponents coming up. How important is this next 2-game stretch?
I think it's very important, just to play like a bigger school, because people don't think we could play with them. But I think it's a great opportunity for us to go out there and win.
How big is it to get Georgia Tech at home in front of your fans at your own stadium?
I think it's pretty cool. You get to play them at home in front of the home crowd, at 12, at noon. And we've actually been practicing, at 2, at noon since camp. So I think it'll play into our favor.
Question, Mark? What were your impressions of the O-line the first game, your performance?
I feel like we came out, we did really well. We saw the stuff we had to improve on, but overall I think we did pretty well, especially in pass protection, giving the quarterback enough time to throw the ball.
What do you think you saw from Lake Barnett?
We saw that he had amazing potential, the accuracy with his balls, and just being able to stay poised in the pocket. Even though sometimes we did give up a little bit of pressure, he still has managed to stay in the pocket and make great throws.
Preparing for Georgia Tech's 3-4, talk about the challenges going up against them now.
I mean, Elon was also a 3-4 defense in some type of way. They have different variations. They're more of Georgia Tech's more of a penetrating defense, so we have to be more physical off the ball and attack them on their side of the ball every single play. But I mean, we already installing that, making sure that everything's in place so we can do the best we can.
How exciting is it to get a big time opponent coming into your house?
I mean, every opponent's big every opponent's big. We prepare for them all the same. Doesn't matter if they're from the ACC or from from any conference really. Every opponent we take seriously, and every opponent we always expect to beat and respect, of course.
You guys didn't have all your backs going in week 1, but how pleased were you with the young guys that stepped up and contributed?
I mean, I felt really good about them. They were making their calls. We heard them. We were able to run our plays fluently. We should have, as offensive line, we should have probably given them more yards, because we left some yards out in the field. That's what we have to work on as offensive line, because we could have had a lot more rushing yards than we did. So that's something we got to work on.
Marcus?
That's it.
Thank you.